It's Friday, the 6th of May 2011, and this is Photo Walkthrough episode number 166, tutorial 22, chapter 2. Hello and welcome back to Photo Walkthrough, tutorial 22, chapter 2. This is the second part of a three-part tutorial. Before we get started on today's tutorial, I want to say a massive thank you to Anthony from Motojournalism, that's motojournalism.blogspot.com, who I've been working with for a few weeks now to design a brand new Photo Walkthrough logo. Ever since I started the show, I've wanted to design a logo for the show, and I've never really found the inspiration. I've never come up with an idea that I really liked for what sort of graphic image I should have. I needed something that would be square and would work on an icon, and I also needed something that would work over photographs. Lots of interesting creative options in there. Anthony was brilliant. If you need some logo design work doing, Anthony's your man. He's great, really, really good. You can find the new logo and the whole new website redesign to go with it, because, you know, it'd be a shame not to redesign everything if just because I've changed this one little part. So head on over to photowalkthrough.com and you can see the brand new redesign. I will be updating the show intro animation to use the new logo. I haven't got around to doing that yet, so we're still using the old show opening at the moment, but that's coming. For the moment, I want to just get that website really hammered down and make sure that everything's working as it should. So if you see any problems with the website, please email me, photowalkthrough@gmail.com, and if you've got any comments on the logo or the site redesign, I'd love to hear them at that same email address. Okay, let's get started with tutorial 22, chapter 2. And remember, what we're aiming for here is to have interesting detail throughout the image. So as everywhere we want our eyes to go, we want it to find interesting detail, which is why we've lightened up this area underneath the boat, because there's lots of interesting detail there around the propeller and the engine, and the colours below the waterline and the dirt, which is, part of what drew me to this shot. So you remember, when you're processing the image, you're trying to show the people that look at the image what it was that you saw that drew your eye to the scene. So, it was very much the faded lettering and that dirt that I saw there that I want people to see. So also, we've got this lovely chrome and the lighter areas against the sky, which is now starting to disappear a little bit into that sky. So we need to do something about those lighter areas. Now, we used the adjustment brush a minute ago to lighten the area under the boat, and we're going to use the adjustment brush again, and this time we're going to do an exposure edit with a negative exposure. So let's go to about -1 thereabouts, and make a slightly smaller brush, because the obvious first place that things are a little bit too bright is here, where we had this sort of dappled sunlight. Now we're still at 50% on our brush's flow, so that's the flow value here at the bottom of the adjustment brush area, and I'm just painting a little bit in on those brighter areas just to bring them back into reasonable tones. We don't want them to be too bright. But the next thing we need to sort out is up here we're finding that our boat is now disappearing into the cloud area. So if I zoom in, I'm going to press the Z key, and then I'm going to hold down the space bar to give me the hand tool that lets me drag the image around, and that lets me drag to here. We can see where we're at in the navigator over here on the left look, and this lets me now look at this area where there is an edge to the boat, and if I use that burn, we're using a negative exposure edit, which is a burn. We're burning detail in. So if I just paint in those areas and let it slowly burn in, we can start to make that line between the white of the boat and the white of the clouds start to disappear a little bit, and we can make it more visible. Now, I don't recommend that you work zoomed in like this very long, because you will lose track of how the edits look in the context of the overall image. So zoom back out, make sure that you see what you're doing, and zoom back out, and we can see that I've probably overcooked that a little bit. So I've probably painted too much darkness in there. So we hold down the Option or Alt key, and I want my flow to be low. I'm thinking sort of 30%. So remember, I can press 3 on the keyboard to jump to a multiple of 10. And I'm just going to back that off a little bit by painting over it a little bit. So that's backed us off. So we've gone from too dark an edit, which is There we go. So you can see that's too dark an edit, and that's evened it up a little bit. We can still see that line a little bit, and I think the other area that we need a little bit more contrast, just to keep our eyes in the shot here, is with this sort of overbar here. I'm tempted to call it a roll bar, but I don't know. I don't think you have roll bars on boats. So whatever this bar's called, we'll zoom in on that, and I think we can safely just do a bit of burning on that to darken it up. So if we can work zoomed out at full screen, I think we should. So we're still on our negative exposure edit here. So let's just darken that, make our brush the size of what we want to edit, and just paint in a little bit of darkening on that bar. I'm doing this all with the mouse. I'm not using a Wacom tablet today. I'm doing this all with the mouse, which is why you need tight control over that flow value. And if you do accidentally do an edit that goes outside of the area, remember you can make your brush bigger and smaller, do a smaller brush, and just use the Option or Alt key just to tidy up the edges. And I think as well as a darkening up here, we can also safely, now look, I've done too much there, so let's just back that off again with my adjustment, with my minus brush. That's holding Option or Alt. Now the other thing that we can do up here is we can darken the sky a little, just the other side of this. So if you look, there's the darker underside bit, and there's also the lighter top side bit. So let's just smaller brush again. Let's just do another little bit of darkening above, hoping to avoid making any halos. So I'm just going to paint into the clouds a little bit as well. Bigger brush once we're into the cloud. And that just lets that contrast between the clouds and the top of that bar become visible again. And see how we're doing. I think we've done alright. I think I must have painted into that a little bit, so I'm just going to use the Option or Alt key to use my eraser and try and remove some of the overpaint, just to try and keep that contrast there. So, because this bar is very important to the way our eyes move in this image, because we want people to look here at the back of the boat, we want people to sort of explore under the boat with detail there, and maybe explore into the clouds of the sky, but we don't want people's eyes to travel out the top. So, as much as possible, having this little bar here just keeps our eyes in the shot a little bit. So I think that's important, to keep that bar as visible as we can make it. One final thing I would like to do here is just try and draw people's eyes more into the centre of the shot and see the area that I was interested in. So I'm going to do another little bit of lightening. Now we have already got a lightening button here, because remember we're using the adjustment brush at the moment, and these dots represent the areas that we've made. So if I mouse over that dot and leave the mouse there, you can see it will show in red the areas that I've painted for that adjustment. And likewise this one, you'll see we've made adjustments up on the top half here. We've mostly darkened stuff down in the top half and lightened stuff up at the bottom. So I could use that bottom lighten adjustment and do some more lightening using that one, or I could make a new adjustment area by clicking the new icon over here, and then let's make another lightening one, perhaps not quite so strong this time. Let's make it a 0.5 thereabouts. Can never get those exactly where I want, but it doesn't matter, as long as it's in the right region. And then I'm going to use a flow of 3. I press the 3 key because I don't want this to be too strong an edit, and I just want to slightly lighten the area around the tender touch so that that area is an eye-catching area, because I want people to see that name. And then I think I might also, this edit that I did down here, there's a couple of different ways I can make that a stronger edit. I could paint more of that red in, or I could just come into here and getting my red area stuck there. This is a bug in Lightroom. Every now and then the highlighted area doesn't go away when you move off. So I could click on that dot and I could use the exposure slider here, because these edits are all re-editable. So I can just drag that exposure number up a little bit more just to bring that detail back. So we've now got similar levels of tonality above and below. It's still lighter up here and it's still darker down here, but they're closer together, which is essentially what we're doing is a manual by hand tone mapping. What we're doing here is mapping the tones so that they all make sense, but they are closer together so that we've got more interesting detail throughout. This is essentially a manual version of what an HDR processing does. An HDR takes values that are very, very bright and very, very dark and moves them closer together so that they can all be displayed together in one image. And what we're doing is the same thing by hand with some sort of artistic control about how we're guiding the eye. So this is manual tone mapping. That's exactly what we're doing here. Right, we're all done for another week. Thank you very much for watching. Before we go, I'd like to say our usual thank you to one of our show sponsors. Today, the show was sponsored by Angie's List. Remember, Angie's List is a fantastic site. If you've got some work that needs doing to your house, everybody's got something that's broken, maybe something in the bathroom or the kitchen, and you never know who to go to, who's reliable. That's what Angie's List is all about. There are tons and tons and tons of reviews of workmen in your area who have done excellent work, and people who have recommended them. Angie's List is full of those reviews, so you can find who's good in your area, and if you do have a problem, Angie's List will even help you sort it out through their complaints resolution service. Of course, as a Photo Walkthrough reviewer, you get a discount by using the promo code PHOTO when you sign up with Angie's List, and that will give you a 25% discount, which is a really, really big discount. You quite often see like 10% or 15%, 25% discount. It's a really, really good deal, and I absolutely recommend that you go ahead and check out angieslist.com. It will save you tons of headaches. Thanks to Angie's List for supporting the show. Alright, I will catch up with you in the next episode. That will be Tutorial 22 Chapter 3. I'll see you then. Bye bye.
Photo Walkthrough is a free online video show about photography and digital photo editing using Photoshop and Lightroom. Please help support the show by using our sponsors' promo codes or by passing the promo codes on to your friends. Join the Photo Walkthrough community, find all the old shows, and subscribe to the new ones for free at photowalkthrough.com.